Today, we're so fortunate to have Diane May be our presenter for Advent decorating for this next season. And needless to say, we need things to brighten our days up. And for me, that's decorating. And Diane has been so incredibly sweet to give her time and effort and talent towards this presentation that we have today. And I think I want to start out by, everybody knows Diane is a member and deacon and the one that always is responsible for the flower arrangements throughout the church, and we so appreciate them and know who's responsible. But Diane, tell me a little bit how you even got it started at decorating and arranging.
Well, it all started when I was just very young. My mother was a most talented woman. She loved to decorate, and she always decorated our home for every single holiday. And she just made everything so special around the holidays. And so I watched her. And then when I got older, maybe 7, 8 years old, she started taking me with her when she did decorating jobs, in which she did it for free for the community. She'd go to homes and she would go to different sites, cafeterias, when the Lions Club had a supper or something. And I just went along with her and helped her out. And so that's how I got going with this whatever it is, because it's a lot of flowers and a lot of other kinds of things too.
I know. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. So you want to start with your first demonstration?
Okay. This is something that I think a child could do, maybe an older child or a child. Maybe you could help a child with this too. I know a lot of you are at home with your children now more because of the pandemic, and some of you are helping out with your grandchildren, and this is something that you might do together with them. This is a gumball Christmas tree, and I went to Hobby Lobby and I found a Christmas tree form. It's just a cone, styrofoam cone, and luckily it's green instead of white. And then I went to the grocery store with the food line, and I saw some gumballs. And so I thought, well, I'm going to put gumballs on that tree. You can put, I can also envision seeing those little Christmas kisses put on to the form. But on this one, I have about 60 gumballs. So you're going to need a lot. To do this whole thing would probably take 100 or more of the larger gumballs. I also bought some little smaller gumballs, and I just tucked those in between the spaces of the larger gumballs to fill the tree out a little bit more. And all I did to attach the gumballs, I just got some toothpicks and I cut them in half, and I just stuffed them in, and I just went around and started sticking in the gumballs. And it worked beautifully. Once I looked at, this half side of the tree that I had finished, I thought it looked, it needed a little bit more. And it needed something on top. I know I could have put gumballs up there, but I decided that instead I maybe could put an ornament, a Christmas ornament. But then I thought of some ribbon. And there are all kinds of ribbon that you could use for this, but I thought the old-fashioned kind that's pretty easy to work with, even a child can work with it. And all I did was just mix green and red together. I didn't make a few loops and cut it. I didn't do that. I made a few loops, and then I would go to the other color, and then I would make a few loops, and then I would tie them off. And then I actually added a few streamers too. Added some more to make it a little bit fuller. And so that I could have more streamers to actually, take my scissors and curl. I think kids would enjoy doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
After looking at it, I thought, this could be used in a child's room for their Christmas tree. It also could go on a table for Christmas Day, when children are eating there at a table. You may want to raise it up, and I have a candlestick here, and I thought it looked cute on a candlestick. I also thought it might be attractive with some greenery beneath it. And so what I did was just take some floral foam and wet it, and I put it on a coaster that has a lip. And you see if I set it there, I think it shows up pretty well. You have to get it level first, and then maybe stick in the greenery afterward. All right, we'll go to another table now.
Karen,
Yes,
can you turn off your, can you mute yourself for a minute?
yes, sorry.
Another. Thank you for joining us again.
I thought I would show you how I go about creating an arrangement for a table. That's why this one's not finished. What I typically do is choose a pretty vase, and I think having a pretty vase is real important for your arrangement. Here, this one is just a simple gold vase. And then I use my floral foam. I put it into, I float it in water. When I put it into the water, I take my hand away, don't push it down into the water, because it doesn't work. It doesn't take in the water as effectively as it should. Just let it sit there, and it will start sinking. You'll see some bubbles. It'll come around the side, but don't take it out until you don't see any more bubbles. But once you remove it, just put it into your vase. And I always use a piece of floral foam that is taller. I cut it taller than my base. And I do that so that I can cover up any tape that I've used to tape down my floral foam. You see, I have some tape right here. And when I green, I always start with greening my vase first at the base. I like to cover that tape. And then I also like to put the pieces in and angle them down. I just think it makes them a more elegant flowing arrangement. A lot of people that I've worked with like to put in the stems and stick them up, but when it's all over, it just doesn't look as attractive as having them flow down from the arrangement. You see, I have a couple of poinsettias here in this floral foam. You can use cut poinsettias in an arrangement. I thought I'd show you how to do that. You need a candle, and I've got one here right beside me. Now, cut a stem. I'm going to take off some leaves here. And then I just put it into the flame. And you'll see, I've got a little close there to my hand. You'll see it bubble. And the flame seals all the water up into the stem. And let me go back a minute. Before I cut poinsettias, I always make sure that I've got a wet plant, a very wet plant, so that there's plenty of water in the stems. And all I do is just stick it into my floral foam. Just like that. And I like, when I use poinsettias, I like to just use poinsettias and the Christmas greenery.
Really pretty.
And you can intersperse other greenery once you've got your poinsettias placed. All right, let me put this aside. And whoops, I'm gonna pull this arrangement over. I made this last night. And I wanted to show you how you could use non-traditional Christmas flowers in Christmas arrangements. I certainly, I've got all these Christmas greens here, but I've decided that I wanted to use something a little different. I like doing that. These are Asiatic lilies, and they last a good 3 or 4 days. They are the smallest lily that you can buy. And they're not very fragrant, and that's why I like to use them in arrangements. The Oriental lilies and the Casablanca lilies are very large, but they are they have a very, very strong fragrance. And you might not want them in your home, and you certainly wouldn't want them on a table where you eat. But they're pretty. I love the fact that they also have these wonderful buds that look good in an arrangement. Another flower that you don't usually see in a Christmas arrangement is a calla lily. And I'm going to pull this one out. Callas last a very long time, but they have weak stems. And so when I use calla lilies in an arrangement, I always put a floral pick. It is just a little piece of wood, and it has some wire at the top. And so you just wrap it around, and it just gives the lily some stability. And then you can stick it into the arrangement. Just make sure that the end of the stem is well into the wet oasis, so it can get some water. Another flower I put in here is a tulip. And I always like putting tulips in when I have guests because they're always surprised that I have tulips in the arrangement. But tulips, you can't get them, all year round. Usually it's just in the spring, and then around Christmas time I see them again. But tulips can be real boogers because when you put them in water, they tend to get taller and they start moving around. And sometimes I like that. And it makes kind of a fun, kind of a wild arrangement. But if you want your tulips to stay in place, what you do is just take some wire, and I put tip of the wire at the neck, and then I wrap it around the stem. And then I always use a floral pick as well on floral pick because these stems are not very strong, but they will last several days and look really pretty in an arrangement. So you can mix non-traditional Christmas flowers into an arrangement.
That's really awesome. Thank you so much, Diane, for that. And we'll move to the next demonstration, but thank you very, very much.
It's not wet, but I want to show you what I do. I put it on top of the candlestick, and then I start thinking about my candle itself. Now you can put a bigger piece of oasis here and make just a flower arrangement, and that looks lovely. But here I decided to use a candle. Now you can use one of these tapers, and if you decide to use a taper, and you don't have one of these little gizmos, that again, you can buy it at a floral shop, but they work beautifully in oasis and secure that candle nicely into the foam. But if you don't have one of these, just make sure that you put it in just one time, and it will usually stay. or you can do as I am going to do, take toothpicks again, and then you can surround it and it will make it stable in your oasis. For this one, I'm going to use this candle, and I think it will work really well. And so what I do is take my wet oasis, I'm going to switch here, and have a piece of wet oasis, whoops. And I just sit at the top, the candlestick like that. And then I always put my candle in, and then I will secure it with toothpicks all the way around, because if it's on a buffet table or your dining room table, you just want to try to get this as stable as you possibly can. And your greenery covers your toothpicks. And and all I did was just put a little bit of greenery. Here's some camellia that has buds on it still. And I think it makes a very attractive piece that can go on your table. All right, and then we're going to move to the last station.
Here, let's see how steady I can be. Okay.
You all right?
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of you have Christmas collections. I have a Santa Claus collection. I have a Christmas tree collection, and I have a Christmas box collection. And instead of just putting my pieces, my figures, down flat on a table, on a buffet like this, I like to vary the heights of things. I just think it makes the display a little more interesting looking. And what I usually do is use just books I have at the house, and I intersperse them throughout my my table. And I have books here, I have books here, here, and here I use one of my Christmas boxes because I think it makes a nice little stand for my reading Santa Claus. I also always use some type of cloth over this. And I like to use a fabric that, is easy to manage, that can bunch up nicely. And so here I've got, this is just net. This is gold net. That's real pretty at Christmas. Another thing I do is I put votives throughout. I've only brought 3, but I put votives, and I sort of add a little light to the display, and it makes it, I think, real nice looking. Here I've mixed both. I've got a few boxes that I put in that I have. Here's a round box. It's got a Santa on it that I think is cute. And then I've interspersed, I've wrapped up some fake presents, and I've put them in as well.
Awesome.
So, I mean, sometimes I just use Santa Clauses, sometimes I just use all boxes. I just vary it from Christmas to Christmas.
Oh, let's see.
So,
I'm gonna zoom in on exactly what she's done and what she's talked about. Let's see. There you go.
this is one of my favorite Santas.
That's really
He's naughty on one side and then he's nice on the other.
All right. I think now you go for Q&A.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go right here.
Right here. Okay. Okay. Now you can unmute if you'd like. And we'll have a little Q&A for our Diane Maye extraordinaire.
I
Okay,
have one.
Minna.
Yeah. But with those oasis, do you have to keep re-wetting them? Like how long do you have to keep putting water back on them? Like days, how long will they last, the water?
Minna, what I do is I just feel the oasis, and if it feels a little dry, I'll add water.
Just like a couple teaspoons or?
Well, if it feels kind of dry, you need right much water. And I usually use a little pot that has a nice little long snout that I can, pour in straight into the base that I've used.
Thank you.
So it should be completely immersed when you put it in there and then just water it
Well,
as needed, or?
it has plenty of water by itself when you put it into the vessel that you're using. And you probably don't have to water it again until the second, maybe the third day after that. But, it's important if you want to keep the arrangement as long as you do, you want to keep it, then you need to keep it wet.
Okay, Nancy Harris, do you have a question?
Yes. Are there other plants that you seal like you did the poinsettia?
Let's see. Well, I cut plant, well, it's not for Christmas really, just a poinsettia for Christmas.
It's unique in that way.
Right.
Okay.
Jane, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, so I like the candle idea with the greenery, but how do you keep it from falling off? Like, do we need to tape it to the candle, or how does it not?
Well, Jane, this candlestick, and I think most candlesticks have a lip.
Okay.
And so I kind of push the
Oh, you pushed it down and made like
Now,
okay.
you can use foil tape to tape it, that would certainly secure it the best.
So you just pushed it down hard so it kind of went into the oasis.
That's what-
Okay, now I got you. Okay.
That's what I did. Now the candles, to secure the candle, I put toothpicks around the
I
candle,
saw that. That was good.
keep it from falling.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Anybody?
Diane,
Yes.
Diane, yeah, can you tell us all the different kinds of greenery you've used? You said most of it came out of your yard, right?
Well, I've got the camellia. I have some Leyland cypress. I have a Leyland cypress tree. I have
Is it pine tree?
dark green. I don't know what it is, Camericiferous maybe, I'm not sure, but I just, I buy plants for my yard, thinking ahead about using them for, my arrangements. And I think I could cut azalea and put it in here. I have laurel, so I found some laurel.
Is there magnolia in there?
No, I don't have magnolia, but I have 8 magnolia trees in the yard that I use quite often. And all my magnolia trees are the long leaf ones. A lot of times I like using the shorter leaf magnolia in arrangements that I'm gonna put on a table. Now, if you're using you're doing a giant arrangement, you can use those large magnolia.
What is the slick dark green leaf?
This is my camellia bush.
Camellia bush, okay.
I've got those.
Yeah. A little bit of pine. Looks like you got in there.
Yeah, I have some pine. I had to go out to a park, and usually there are woods behind, at the edge of the park, and I just cut some pine.
Just as last year I went just to the Christmas tree store. I wasn't getting a Christmas tree, and they gave me a bunch of their cut leftovers for free.
You can do that. Some of that for me is a little difficult to work with these little sticks.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a mantle, I think that would work well on a mantle.
Mantle, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Anybody else have any burning questions?
Can she just come to our house and do it?
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, Diane is such a talent.
Well,
You are so incredibly blessed.
Well,
for
thank
her
you
to
so much.
spend time and effort, and you're quite a presenter.
Well-
You really don't, you don't give yourself the credit. I've learned a lot today, and I can't wait to go home and attempt to do what you do.
Well, good luck, everybody.
You make it look so easy,
I
Diane.
know.
You know,
Thank you, Diane.
you just have to, do it a few times, and it really is easy. And you can always go on YouTube, and or Pinterest and look at things that they do. I think it's wonderful that we have those things to help us out these days.
Yeah.
The old saying, practice makes perfect, and I would say confidence. We thank you for all your
Well,
years of experience and conveyed and showing us all these beautiful
well,
decorating tips.
thank you. And Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Diane.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thank you,
Christmas.
Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
Comment.
Thanks.
Diane.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you. All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.